Italian Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte announced on Sunday that the entire region of Lombardy and a number of northern provinces were to be put on lockdown. The new measure will affect about a quarter of the population, 16 million people, and will be in force until April 3rd. Entry and exit from these places will be forbidden, with only a few exceptions. This came after Italy announced its biggest jump in cases so far on Saturday. It reported over 1,200 new cases in the space of just 24 hours, taking the total to over 5,800. Packed restaurants and bars quickly emptied out on Saturday as many people rushed to the train station in Padua. The same night, Nicola Zingaretti, the head of the co-ruling Democratic Party, said he'd tested positive for coronavirus and that he was in self-isolation at home.
The coronavirus expanding, the first deaths on the East Coast and the cruise ship stranded. The number of states affected growing. You can see the sweep of it since just last Friday to tonight. Now at least 401 cases across at least 29 states and the District of Columbia, at least 19 deaths. Tension on that Grand Princess cruise ship 50 miles off San Francisco, at least 21 on board testing positive for the virus. Vice President Pence meeting with cruise industry officials, announcing plans to bring that vessel into a non-commercial port, all on board to be tested, reminding Americans the risk of contracting the virus remains low. And of the 16 deaths reported in the state of Washington, officials tell us 14 are associated with that life care center in King County that has been the focus of so much concern.
Tonight, a state of emergency declared in New York as the coronavirus spreads across the country. The number of confirmed cases soaring to at least 89 statewide. 11 in New York City, including an Uber driver, a man in his 30s hospitalized in Queens. Plus, 23 new cases confirmed in a suburb outside New York City, about half of them linked to an attorney who frequently traveled through Grand Central Terminal. The governor blasting the federal government, claiming the state isn't getting enough money to fight the virus and there aren't enough tests.
CDC was caught flat-footed. I believe they're slow in their response, and I believe they're slowing down the state.
This as Florida reports the first 2 deaths on the East Coast, a man and a woman, both victims in their 70s with recent overseas travel.
Our breaking news this morning on the agendas. Watch the third confirmed case of COVID-19 in South Africa. I want to bring in the Health Minister, Dr. Zweli Mkhize. He's on the line.
Yes, that is correct. We'd like to announce that a third person has been tested positive for the COVID-19 virus. This is a person who's part of the group that was kept on surveillance, the 10 people that had traveled together to Italy. She is a contact of the first patient and is actually the wife. And so she has been tested and the result come back positive. But she has no symptoms and she is well. The children were also tested and they are well, but they have tested negative.
A shooting spree at a local tavern in Khayelitsha has claimed 6 lives. 7 others have been wounded, including a 6-year-old girl. Police are on the hunt for the suspected gunman.
Yes, what we do know is that the incident occurred at an informal tavern here in Site B. It's actually just around the corner from the police station where we are standing at the moment. And the reason for us standing here at the police station is because when we visited the site where the shooting happened, it was quite a tense atmosphere. The neighbors were even too afraid to speak to us, and some people who had emerged from the house where the shooting had happened basically chased us away, asking us what are we doing there. There was another media house there, and even they were also chased away.
Businesses are closing, unemployment is rising, inflation is soaring, and the local currency depreciated by at least 50%. And now, for the first time in its history, Lebanon is defaulting on paying its debt. $1.2 billion is due on Monday. The country is facing its worst economic crisis in decades. Prime Minister Hassan Diab, who took office in January after massive protests toppled the previous government, told the nation his administration will work on restructuring the debt which has become too much for the country to bear.
Our hard currency reserves are at a critical record low. As a result, the Republic of Lebanon is forced to default the coming March 9th obligation on the Eurobond. These funds must be channeled towards securing the basic necessities for the Lebanese people.
Sí, está esposado Ronaldinho. ¿Otra palabra, Ronaldo? Entra Ronaldinho esposado, pero sábanas haciendo una cosa a su hermano. Entra Ronaldinho esposado, pero sábanas haciendo una cosa a su hermano. Roberto.
Марша нет, насилие есть! Марша нет, насилие есть! Нет насилия есть! Марша нет насилия есть! Нет насилия! Ребенок у нее остался! Ребенка одного остался! Вы ищете врагов там, где их нет!
Woody Allen's publisher has decided to cancel the planned release of the film director's memoir, apropos of nothing. The announcement on Friday by Hachette Book Group followed days of criticism focused on allegations that Allen sexually abused his daughter, Dylan Farrow. On Thursday, several Hachette employees staged a walkout. Allen's book was scheduled to come out next month. The director's son, Ronan Farrow, said Hachette's decision was wildly unprofessional, and that both he and his sister Dylan had not been contacted by the publisher to fact-check their father's book. Woody Allen has denied any wrongdoing and was never charged after two separate investigations in the 90s. But the allegations have received new attention in the Me Too era.